So welcome to we're just going to call this the Trio Tribe call for October 24th. We're super, super excited about tonight. We are coming off our leadership retreat from this past weekend, which was absolutely amazing. I don't know if you guys were following and if you got FOMO, but we definitely hope to have more of you there with us next year. So excited to have the girls share their top takeaways tonight. A couple quick things before we dive in. Does anybody have recognition or anything that they need to shout out? You can unmute yourself if you do.
I want to shout out my two new coaches, Holly and Ashley, for buying their tickets to Summit.
Hell yeah. Love the
I know, I'm so pumped.
That's such a huge, huge, huge step in your business when you commit like that. Amazing.
Jumping in on that, I want to say the same thing for Emily. She jumped in, committed, and got her ticket. I don't know if she's on, but I'm very excited.
Awesome.
I want to shout out Katie again. Last week we talked about how she hit Success Club, but Katie has one of her first coaches who also hit Success Club, and they've only been doing this for less than a month. So whoop, whoop, go girls.
Hell yeah. That's proof that new coaches can lead coaches. That's amazing. Love it. I just have to say, I am hoping that we have at least 50 coaches from our team at Summit this year. So let's keep encouraging new coaches and old coaches alike to register to be there with us, and let's just go big this year. So a couple things before we get started and have all of the girls from the retreat kind of just share their top takeaways and their nuggets. Annalisa and I wanted to cover two things, one being our coach sneak peek on Sunday night, and the other thing being our brand spanking new team challenge that we have been kind of brainstorming on the past week to really just get us amped up going into the end of the year and to start 2019 with fire. So in terms of the sneak peek, and Annalisa, you can add to this if you want. I just jotted down a few things, but first and foremost, before like any thought of like sharing or posting or putting this in your stories, we're having our coach sneak peek Sunday night, 8:30 p.m. A lot of us from the retreat are going to be sharing, and I think, Annalisa, did you share the doc for people to sign up in the team pages yet? Yeah? Okay. So it's going to be on fire with a lot of energy. I feel like we've always done well with sneak peeks, but I feel like the energy is really high in our teams right now, and that's awesome for people to come and see and be a part of. So the first thing that I want to just encourage you to think about when sharing the opportunity, whether it's in a post or in your stories, or if it's inviting a challenger that's been kicking butt in your groups to join you, is thinking about, because I know that sometimes I should just ask you, does sharing the coaching opportunity scare you more than it does to share about a challenge group? Yeah. Okay, so I asked that because that was always kind of my thing too. It was always way scarier for me to invite to coaching than it has been for challenge groups, but I just want to encourage you to think about it this way. As number one, if you don't ask, the answer is always no. And most of us probably had zero plan ever in our life to become a team Beachbody coach, right? But our coach had to have the courage to invite us to something so that we could really have the opportunity to say yes. And all of us, I'm sure, can say that this has changed our lives. So who are we to make the decision for someone else if this is something that would be a good fit for them or not? We're not. That's why we have to put it out there. So with that said, going into your invites to the sneak peek, thinking about being selfless, right? So when we are thinking about ourselves and we are concerned of what other people think, or we don't want to get rejected, or we're scared of how someone's going to respond, we're thinking about ourselves, right? And that's where the fear comes into play. But if we can shift gears and think of, how could this benefit somebody's life? Like, do they have debt they want to get their family out of? Do they want to spend more time with their kids? Like, do they need a community of support and friendships? Whatever the opportunity could provide for their life, but putting the focus on the person you are inviting and giving them an opportunity to see what this is all about and if it could be the fit for their life, because that mindset shifts makes a really, really big difference in your confidence level when you are inviting, right? Because if you're not attached to the outcome and you know that you're doing this just to help someone, it's not as much of a sting if they say no. And also they're just going to keep following what you're doing after you share about this, right? The second thing, making a post about this. And if you missed it, I posted it twice in our team page. I think Annalisa shared it too, and Laura as well. But the call from leadership about storytelling is just so profound that every coach needs to watch that. But think about that when you are making your posts about coaching, because I know a lot of times we tend to get kind of surface and like post a picture of some of our friends or something about it and just say like, if you've ever wondered how we make money and why we're so happy and why we love Shakeology and whatever. But people, that doesn't really give them anything to connect to. So like, think about where you were in your life before you became a coach. Like you felt, I'm just using my examples, like I felt isolated. I felt financially stuck. I felt really alone and really unhappy most of the time. I didn't know what the heck the word purpose meant. There's just so many different components to your story that you can probably dig a little bit more into to create some like tie into why people might want to come see how this could change their life in that aspect, right? So making sure that you're kind of sharing a story when you're sharing an invite to the coaching sneak peek, and then making sure to follow up with the people that like and comment on those. And then also getting creative in your Instagram and Facebook stories about this. Kelly Riley shared an awesome one, I think it was yesterday. And if you go to the highlighted stories on my Instagram, I have one that is up in there that I kept on the highlights, but it's like pictures of different things, of working out, of going to events, of whatever. And it just says like, have you ever considered what we do as coaches? Like, would you like to get fit from home? Would you like to earn extra income? But getting creative with sharing that in your stories, whether you feel comfortable talking or not, or using photos. But Alicia has a good one too, she said. Or putting a poll at the end of it of like, would you like more information, or have you been curious, or just do you have questions? But creating that interaction and that opportunity for people to say, yes, I want to see what this is all about. And the other thing, keep your invite simple. I think sometimes that's where the overwhelm comes from too. It's like, what do I say? I don't want to screw it up. And I like that, you know, of course, like we're always improving what we say, but I have always found that simple works best. I think that we can sometimes tend to word vomit on people and try to explain everything. And that's what the sneak peek is for them to learn. So just keeping your invites really simple. What'd you say, Annalisa?
Oh, sorry. I'm just going off of what you're saying. Basically, with those IG stories. Yeah, distracting. Basically, just saying like Alicia and Kelly who did them, like when I made that, it took a lot of time. So save those stories. Like you can reuse those stories over and over and over again. Make sure you save them. But think about like, what are the components of coaching that I want to showcase in these quick 15-second or less snippets, and really kind of talk about the community, talk about all the things that we're going to talk about in our sneak peek, but like, have you ever wanted to make a side income? Have you ever wanted to join forces with a community of women? Do you like all these things that are important to you are going to relate to the people who are like you and your niche market.
Yep. Or just,
I was going to say too, can I interrupt really quickly? I was just going to say too, if you have coaches that are trying to work Instagram and their stories, like save all of them without like, I don't know what I was going to say. Like sometimes basically sometimes Dana will have a great one posted in a story and I'm like, hey, just send me the clips of that, like of your stuff. Cause some of the pictures I'm in, or some of them are just words and I can just use them again in my story, because as we've like always said, we don't need to recreate the wheel for everything. And like Annalisa said, this shit takes a lot of time sometimes to like write all these things out and find pictures. So if there's ones that you can save and pass along to your fellow coaches, it is super helpful.
Yeah. And that will actually go along with what we're going to talk about today, of contributing things that you're doing to the team. And we will address that a little bit, but like we work so much better as a team. So like, don't rely on Dana or Laura or me to like constantly be pouring in what we're doing. Like, what are you guys doing? Because it's so important and it's effective and you guys are rocking. Add that in the team page. Don't be afraid to be like, this is what I'm doing. Don't know if it's going to work or not, but here's what I did today. Here's what I created today. Hope it helps. That kind of thing. Super helpful. Even if it's just like, here's the terminology I used in my story and it's really working today. That kind of thing.
Yep.
Team player.
And I just want to add, if you do decide this, like to do this with photos in a story invite, word swag is great to edit. You can put it in Instagram story sizing of the photo and then just add text to it and then save it and just upload those right to your stories. And the other thing is, if you're kind of like, I'm not really sure what I should share, again, go look at ours, or just think about like the top 5 or 6 things that coaching has done for you and write it about those, right? The next thing, aside from keeping your—
Hey, Dana, excuse me. They want to say hi before they go to bed. They're like,
Hi! You look pretty lively for going to bed.
yeah, I know. They're very ready. Okay, good night. Love you. Go to bed now. You have to say hi.
And then
Hey, Dana.
Yeah.
Sorry, can I interrupt really quick about inviting?
Yep.
Just another take on inviting coming from a recruiter background for my past 15 years of my life. One of the things that I've always been the opposite. Like, I've always been much more comfortable inviting to the coaching side of things than the customer side of things from the beginning. And part of that is because when you're inviting somebody to coaching, you are only 100% complimenting this person. You are telling them that they would be inspirational. You are telling them that people would want to join them. You are telling them that they would fit in with our team. You're telling them basically that you like them and want to hang out with them. Whereas I always tap danced around inviting people to the challenges because I'd be so worried that I'd be like calling somebody overweight or insulting somebody. So I was like the opposite, because the coaching invite to me is only a compliment. And if somebody gets in shape as a result of being a coach, then that's great. But for me, that was like a back burner to all the compliments that I was giving somebody, versus if I was inviting someone to a challenge, I had felt like I needed to walk on eggshells a little bit with how I was going to approach the conversation. And it comes from a recruiting background where I was trying to recruit people to be managers for me forever. And I would have to just like shower them with compliments. But if you guys think of it in that way, where it's like, you're only complimenting this person, there's no way they can get mad at you about it. Like, the worst that they can say is no, but the best they can say is yes and thank you and oh, that's so sweet. And you know, it's so much more complimentary. So if you approach it in that sense, that you're basically just showering someone with compliments, it's a lot easier to invite to coaching, because you want to include those compliments in the invite. Like, hey, I wanted to ask you because you're so funny and I just feel like you would fit in with my group and I know you're working on your fitness. Like, it's just, for me, it's a lot more natural to invite to coaching because of that. So just wanted to insert my 2 cents.
The compliment thing is huge.
I'll also add to that. I think the reason that it's hard to invite to coaching is related to the belief you have in this business. So why the heck wouldn't you want to invite every single person to be a coach? Even if you don't, like, you can't judge them by what you think they'll say. Like, like Kelly said, you're inviting them to this opportunity because you think they'd be great, or because you think they could benefit. You see something in them that could change with the coaching potential. So inviting them to coaching, to me, is easier than inviting them to a fitness challenge and saying like, hey, do you want to get involved in a fitness challenge? So it's all about mindset and what you're thinking about the invite. So just keep that in mind when you are like, I need to invite some people to coaching. Like Kelly said, like, what are you inviting them to? It's huge.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is like really appropriate, but it was just making me think of there was a coach on our team who had just started, but she recently quit, and I had messaged her. She wasn't my personally sponsored, but was below me a level or 2. And I was like, hey, what's up? And she was like, I just think, Shakeology is expensive and it's a lot to ask of people. And I was like, okay, well, I mean, there's like, even in the way she was speaking about it, I'm like, clearly you don't see the benefit in Shakeology. And the irony of this, why I want to say, like, we have to just have such faith in what we're presenting to people, because she is now, starting yesterday, I noticed on her story, she's selling Rodan and Fields, and there's nothing, like, that's fine, like, more power to her. But I've bought that eye stuff, whatever it is to make your eyelashes longer. It's like $160 a month. Okay. So like, she's saying that Shakeology is expensive, but like, just remember that what we offer people is, like, I just think it's so much bigger than, not that there's anything wrong with makeup, but it's so much bigger than any of the multi-level marketing companies. That like, Shakeology isn't like a mascara. It's offering this adjunct to people to have health and wellness and like longevity and the ability to be with their children. And I think just like, sometimes I get like in my own head confused about that. And when that happens, you need to like reconnect with why you're doing it. And like, holy shit, like Shakeology is cheap, you guys, like for what it brings to our lives. And like being, the $15.95 a month business fee, that is like pennies. So, and I make a full-time income doing this, like helping other people. And even when my life is really hard and I like, shut down a little bit, I still make money. So that's the kind of thing that you need to like share with people that could be part of this business with you, is that it's not going to be about like, initially it will be, but it's not going to eventually be about the sales of mascara per month. It's going to be about the people they've recruited to their team that are sharing the wealth of this business with other people. So I don't know, I'm rambling, but I just like felt really strong about this. I just thought it was crazy. This coach went from our company, which is just like so amazing, to Rodan and Fields, which is also so amazing, but it's like comparing apples and oranges, I guess. I don't know how to describe it. I'm sure you guys feel it too, but
no, just saying like knowing the power and the value that you are offering, that it is that when people give you back, like feedback on the price, that don't be afraid to stand up for what it's worth, because look what it's done for your life, right?
Yeah, and just like what people value, like what story they're telling. I've been like on a rant about this all day on Facebook. And
what story they're telling themselves.
What story they're telling yourself. Like, oh, it's so expensive, but I'm going to spend $160 on my hair, no problem. And then I'm going to get my nails done for $30 every 2 weeks. Like, come on, let's be real. What's important?
Priorities.
And Jen just said priorities as well. It just goes with like what coaching is, like what we're offering people is like so much more valuable than like anything else, I feel like. So
yep.
Hey guys, I have one thing to kind of piggyback off of what Kelly Spencer was saying earlier. A lot of times when I was thinking about like inviting people to the coaching opportunity through like Instagram, and these are people that are my cold market, so I don't necessarily like know them very well. It's just, once I get to a point of connecting with them, I have actually been, and I don't know, maybe you guys have already thought about this route, but if you are nutrition focused, like I am, like a big part of my story, losing the weight, stuff like that. I've been searching for people who post a lot of healthy recipes and are trying to grow their Instagram following. So if you, and I know Corey, like we're both kind of 2B mindset mentors, and so like that's kind of our thing. Like that's one route that you could take if you are really into the nutrition side of what we do. And so like just don't like pigeonhole yourself into like thinking you're only looking for people who are already like on their own journey. Like they might just want to share recipes or what the heck.
Yeah. That's so true about not pigeonholing to one thing. I love that. Okay, last thing so we can move on from this. The last thing, well, I don't know if I actually got to this, but inviting challengers that you have in your group that are kicking butt, or even if someone is like, I'm not sure I can continue ordering my Shakeology because I don't know if I can keep paying for it. And or people who give you money objections right from the get-go. If you are inviting them to a challenge group and somebody gives you a money objection, my first comeback is inviting them to a sneak peek. because obviously there's somebody who wants to get healthy and fit, and obviously they are someone who could utilize more income in their lives, right? So don't just back down when someone's like, oh, I have 50 pounds to lose, I don't feel comfortable in my own skin, like I struggle with emotional eating, da da da, and then you say, like, join us, and they're like, I can't afford it. Use that as an opportunity to share, that they can share their journey and be relatable from the get-go, and invite them to join us just to see what coaching is all about. It is as simple as helping a handful of people that could pay for their own pack. And I know that because that's how I started. Okay. Does anybody else have anything to add for sneak peek, inviting, questions, anything? Can we all make it a goal to invite at least 20 people to this coaching sneak peek? Don't all jump at once. Yes.
Yeah.
Hey, Lauren Reed, will you mute yourself? Do you mind?
Oh, so sorry.
You don't need to be sorry. I just get so distracted. I was doing it earlier too, and I got called out, so it's fine.
Dana, if anybody, or I know I'm addressing Dana, she does not need this, but if anybody wants to steal my post from my business page today, feel free. I actually stole it for myself. I posted it a year ago today, and it like popped up because we were doing another sneak peek. And it's about like being the mom who's like always in a rush, always saying no, and like everything is based on your schedule, and like how much that's changed in my life. And like, so I was talked about like being like a no mom to a yes mom, but if anyone just legit wants to like steal the verbiage, feel free.
I remember that
page, so like nobody sees it that we have in connection with each other. So feel free to steal.
As we are always like, do not steal posts.
Put your own spin on it. Put your own spin on it.
I mean, steal
if you're not a mom, probably don't take the mom post.
If you do not have children, that'd be a little weird, unless you're talking about being a mom to your husband, because then
So funny.
I don't know any people who are yes wives.
Oh my God, so funny. Okay, let's just, Annalisa, do you want to do the speakers now and then cover the challenge at the end, or do you want to just lay it out there real quick and then do the speakers?
Let's lay it out there, and then honestly, guys, like if you're at leadership, literally take like 30 seconds to 60 seconds to be like, this is what I'm taking home from that. Why events are so important. Yeah, so Dana and I have been kind of brainstorming, as we generally do behind the scenes, of ways to hold all of us accountable to our business, just like we hold our challengers accountable to our wellness challenges, like accountability posts, daily check-ins, that kind of thing, where we realize that veteran coaches and especially new coaches don't really know what they should be doing on a day-to-day basis. Like they get the inviting, they get the business activity tracker, but beyond that, how can you maximize your business? So we're thinking of doing in our team pages, and we're hoping to launch this like by the end of this week so that it'll be ready to go next week, a daily accountability topic. And so each day, and I'll let Dana run through the topics that we were kind of talking about, but each day it will be up to you to look at the business accountability, to check into the team page, and to participate in that business activity. This is not like send 5 invites. This is not read 15 minutes of PD. Those things are all incorporated into your business activity tracker, but these things will be a little bit different. One of the things that I will say real quick, let me just share my screen, Dana, and show the new business activity tracker for people who might be interested in seeing that. So if you guys are not using trackers at this point, I'm not like blaming you. I fell off the tracker system myself. And so I was added into this new this new business activity tracker system that they're trying out. And I'm like, who the heck, like, let's just all try this out. There doesn't need to be like an exclusive club for this. If it's helpful, let's share it. So the new tracker is more focused on time spent doing these activities instead of, let's say, like friend 3 to 5 people. It's set your timer, spend 20 minutes connecting with people, adding followers to your page. Honestly, guys, that has been the biggest help just in the last week. I've started so many more conversations just by setting my timer and doing a focused comment, like 3 photos and comment on Instagram to these people that I want to connect with. And it started these conversations. So I'm not going too far into this, but what I will share this in the team page. And one of the days that we have in our group is for you guys to upload your business activity tracker. So we're not focused on like, let's like all do this the same time on Monday, we'll all do whatever. This is one of the days. Take control of your business activity tracker. It can be this one, it can be a personalized one, it can be Dana used to use a whiteboard with tally marks, like 300 tally marks per line.
Like
when she
3
started.
years I did that.
So whatever works for you, but the goal will be on one day, which will be Thursday, and we'll go through these, but Thursday you will upload your business activity tracker for accountability. At the end of these weeks, at the end of 2 weeks, we have kind of like a VIP, MVP coach who will earn prizes and we'll have fun and that kind of thing. So I will stop sharing my screen. So the goal is get systemized and use a tracker for this kind of participation. Dana, you want to just take over the kind of group day ideas that we're brainstorming?
I was driving when you wrote
Oh,
them
I
down.
have it written down.
I just want to add to this real quick is like, can anybody say that they've gotten like bored with their basics and they've felt like the momentum slow down in their business, or they just find themselves being like, oh, I don't want to do this today? And if you can say that, it's fine. You're not alone. Like we all go through these phases. And when she sent me this tracker, I was like, we need to do some kind of a fun challenge with this, but just posting a tracker is not going to be fun. Like, it has to have something behind it to like get our energy and our momentum going. So just to kind of like preface this is like, make sure that you're clear on your why and your vision going into the end of this year and before next year, because if you are not, it is hard to be driven to do the basics, right? Also to just like wipe the slate clean and let the past year or 6 months or 2 months or whatever you feel like you've been slacking or stagnant or unmotivated or whatever, like let it go. Like it is not serving you anymore to stay stuck in that energy. I know because I've had to pull myself out of it. And I'm just sick and tired of like not feeling the way I want to in my business and or with my goals. And so use this as a way to like really draw the line in the sand and get excited about this again.
I think also this kind of thing, like, don't be afraid to post your tracker if it's like half empty. This is your self-reflection, your accountability, and then saying like, dang, I didn't invite one single person to the coach business last week. No wonder I don't have any new coaches on my team. Like, this is just a way of holding you accountable. And in addition to that, I truly believe that using a business activity tracker for full-time workers, like not part-time coaches, people who go to jobs or who have a really busy day, is a really structured way for you to sit down and just do an hour of work, do your power hour using these and not being like, what did I do today? I kind of connected in here, whatever. Like if you're at a break at work and you've got 20 minutes, okay, do one of the things on your business activity tracker. Like carry it around in your purse for all I care and just check things off as you go. And it will kind of give you more direction, more focus, more clarity, and just be a way of you at the end of the week being like, all right, here's the gaps in my business. This is why it's working. This is why it's not working. And that's what we'll be reflecting on like Thursdays. Okay, so Dana was driving, so I have some things written down. But like I said, Jen, we're going to put all of these things up and structured. Oh my God, I can't read that right now, so someone else can, because I will be distracted. But we'll have this really clear for you guys. But let's say, so Monday will be something like understanding your coach online office check. Like we know on Thursdays, rank advancements happen, income happens. So you want to be checking on Monday who's inactive in your business. Who can you talk to on Monday to reactivate their business center, get involved again, and just be on top of your business by Thursday morning, and not be looking at like Wednesday at 10 p.m. and being like, shoot, I'm about to lose my diamond because so-and-so went inactive, or I need one more coach or whatever. Okay, so Monday is like coach online office checks, posting a video, like did you scroll, did you confirm, whatever, how many inactive, active, what's your volume, like that kind of thing. We'll be more specific on it, but Tuesday is what I was talking about earlier. Tried it Tuesday. Dana came up with that. I'll give you credit. Tried it Tuesday is something in your business that you tried and it worked, something that you learned, something that you listened to. You're just using that day along with every other day, but really to focus in on like, okay, what is something I did in my business this week that worked, and sharing it with the team. Wednesday, team call nights, leaning in, but Wednesday is going to be the day that we really encourage you guys to check in with your upline coach. Like, even if you think things are going great, check in, say, hey, things are going great. You want to stay connected with your coach, because otherwise your coach feels like, am I bugging them if I ask them how their business is going? Like, send them just
on this one, Annalisa?
Yeah.
I just want to say that I talked to, well, not only a speaker at Leadership, but I talked to a few coaches at Leadership, and like, it was so profound to me that a handful of them were like, I don't check in on my coaches. It is their responsibility to check in on with me. And like, I've never, ever, ever done that. But I feel like it is more accountable. Like, it is our business, so it should be our responsibility to check in. And this is an easy way to do it, where like Wednesdays are team call nights, and it can also be a fun and exciting time to like update your coach on what you've done that week, or like what you need help with, or what you're struggling with. And then perhaps set up a call, or be like, hell yeah, I'm rocking it and I feel awesome about it. So we'll figure out on our own with our own coaches how to do the check-ins, but I think it's a great idea moving forward.
Yeah. Because I'm guilty of that too. Like, I don't check in with my upline often, and I probably should, just to say, you know, when I'm struggling or when things are going well, just because it's nice to stay connected in that sense of like, what's happening? Are they good? Are they bad? Like, I don't want to bug them. What's happening? And then where am I? Thursday, we talked about the business activity tracker post, and really reflecting on that. So it's not just post and run. It's post and really look at like, okay, where does my business need work?
No, I want to watch some staircase.
I don't know who's talking to their children, but I can hear it. Thanks. And then, so Friday, all the feels Friday, personal development. What are you reading about? What's making you go, aha? Like, what makes you feel good about your business? What helps your confidence, etc., as we head into the weekend? And all of these things are not just like fluff things. These are things that were decided, like, these will move your business forward. So there's a method to our madness. Saturday is Shout Out Saturday. One of our vital behaviors is recognition. We need to get more fluid, more consistent in our recognition, and understanding that if you have one coach on your team and you shouted them out last week, that's not your only option. Like, there is a tribe of people here who are sharing their stories, who you can reach out to and say, hey, I saw your transformation post. Can I shout you out? Hey, I saw your Emerald rank advancement. Shout them out. Like, just because it's my coach doesn't mean you can't celebrate someone on your team and get that energy out. Jen Richardson was saying, like, everyone on the team shouts out an Emerald coach. Because not only does that make your business look exciting, you are growing teammates who are advancing, but holy heck, wouldn't you feel really good if you got shout out by like 50 people on the team for your rank advancement that day? Like, that's really exciting. So working on our recognition. And then Sunday, something like reflecting on your journey. What went well last week in your personal journey, in your wellness, in your fitness, in your confidence, in whatever. Less of like the business activity tracker style and more on let's say three things you want to focus on in the upcoming week that will help you stay consistent or propel your business forward, or just something you know didn't go well the week before and that you're kind of setting your intention on for the next week. So set your intention Sunday or whatever it may be.
I just want to add to that, Annalisa, is like Sundays for me, guys, for a long time was always like, I don't even know where I learned it from. I think it was from Elizabeth Harkey, like in a new coach training, like where she said, like, take Sundays, like take a half an hour on Sunday to sit down and really think about like what went well in your business this past week, like what went well in your personal journey, because sometimes we don't look and we don't reflect and we get so far off track before we're like, oh my God, how did that even happen? Like, how did I get so far off track, right? So if every Sunday it's like, how would I rate myself in my personal journey, like fitness, nutrition, personal growth, whatever. And then with your business, like, did what I did this past week, is it moving me one step closer towards my goals? And if not, what can I improve upon this week? Whether it's like digging more into the team page, or like getting on team calls, or like whatever, getting more consistent with your basics. But like, reflection is such a powerful thing, because it gives us that self-awareness of how and where to improve. And when we don't reflect, we just feel like we're stuck and we don't really know why, right? So Sundays can be a little bit of like a planning sesh for you of when you're going to work your business, what your social media posts are going to look like that week. Like, do you need to focus more on inviting or follow-ups or sneak peek stuff or creating content or whatever it is? But it'll help us be more effective with our time in the weeks when we're actually working.
And I also think it will relate back to like your goals in your business. I know some people aren't goal setters, but when you start to set your intentions for the week, even if it's as little as like, I'm going to make a point to fill out my business activity tracker every day for workout and drink Shakeology. Like, that's my goal this week. I want to like do 7 days of my workout plan and Shakeology. Or like setting your goals. I kind of got off on a tangent there, but setting a goal for a rank advancement, right? If you're stuck at the same rank for weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks and weeks, Sunday is the day to be like, what needs to happen for Thursday for me to achieve this goal, and to go after it. And that kind of like setting your intention on like, I'm going to make moves this week to move my business forward, move the needle forward in my business.
All right, let's open it up for the speakers.
Yes. And I just wanted to say one more thing to end on that thought. Think of the power, think about what you're doing in your business right now, and think about the power of doing your business activity tracker every single day for the rest of 2018, or 5 days a week. Like, think of the power of momentum you're going to have going into 2019. Like, it's going to be habits. You're going to have talked to a shitload of new people. You're going to have new challengers, new coaches on your team, and everyone has the capability to be an elite coach in 2019. But it starts now, and that's why we're doing this accountability thing, to really dive into your business when a lot of people are getting comfortable and like being like, push the brakes, it's going into holiday season, and getting in their own head. This is the time to push so that next year we have explosive growth in our businesses.
Yep.
And that gives me like chills thinking about, like, I'm in, I'm doing it. All right, let's open it up.
So whoever from the retreat, if you just want to unmute and share a top takeaway nugget of inspiration, something you're going to implement, and or just what it was like to be able to come.
I guess I'll go just because I'm up early, so I'm probably getting off soon, if nobody minds. But anyway.
I mind.
Okay. So I think one of the things that kind of, I guess, jumped out at me is something that Jess Lanier said. Did I say her name right? I don't want to like butcher it since you're recording. But when she was talking about like, when you're posting and when you're putting yourself out there, would someone come to you to build a business or just to get healthy? Like, are you putting yourself out there saying, hi, this is an opportunity? And it kind of goes with everything that we've been saying the whole call so far. Like, what are you showing? Are you sharing your story? Or are you just saying, hey, you could come to me and get healthy. Look, you could lose 30 pounds. Or are you talking about everything? So, I mean, it all kind of tied together, because then she spoke about, like, what 3 words would you want people to use to describe you? Like, what do you want on your gravestone? And that all kind of screamed to me, because I've been struggling a lot with kind of identifying what I guess my brand is and what I want to put out there. And like, there are parts of my story that I really haven't shared, just because I haven't been able to. And then in what I do for work, there are things that I really can't put out there, for fear that students or families or employers will see it. And so but I think it's really important to kind of own up to your story. I know we were talking about it, and I think it was really helpful. Like, one of the things growing up, weight was always a very big thing for my family, and meals were always huge. And it was always, my mom would grab my love handles and be like, you don't want to look like us, or, don't diet like us, or you're the skinny one. So that constantly being told that is putting enough pressure on you. But there are things like that that you can't post because your whole family is on Facebook and they don't want to be upset reading what you're posting. So there's just listening to everything and kind of figuring out the best way to put it out there, I think. And I'm jumping all over the place because that really had nothing to do with what I originally started talking about. So anybody feel free to jump in. But yeah, so I mean, there was just so much, I think. And that's why I'm kind of jumping everywhere, because there really was just so much just from the 3 calls alone that really, I think the main thing was the storytelling. And they all kind of touched on how important it is to tell your story and not to narrate it, but to really explain it and share your story without being a narrator to the story. Because you want people to relate and see and feel what you're feeling. They want your pain points.
Can I piggyback off of that, girlfriend?
Go
Ah,
ahead,
you
big doll.
stole my thunder. I was going to even say piggyback. You win. You got there faster.
So, first thing for me is that like my personal journey is pretty freaking depressing, or can be to some people. And for me, I'm very like, tell it how it is, but I always held back from my storytelling because I'm like, I'm supposed to be uplifting. I'm supposed to like, want these people to feel better. Like, they don't want to hear about how my kid died. They don't want to hear about how, I was adopted. They don't want to hear about, the fact that I was burned by a pressure cooker. Like, they don't want to hear about that. Right. But like, ever since the retreat, I don't know if anyone else follows me, like, I've become so much more open and just like, I don't give a whoop about what people are saying, because now I have people coming to me to say, hey, I want to know what you're doing. Like, I host retreats with tons of angel moms too. And they're like, what are you doing? How did you get yourself out of the rut? So that's been pretty awesome. But the other thing for me too has been, I think it was Jessica. Was Jessica? No. Lauren? Is that one of the speakers? My notes are horrible. Anyway, she talked about mommy. Lori. Yes. Mommy cracks. So like, I work part-time from home. I do Beachbody. I work for a nonprofit. So life is crazy, but I need to find the mommy cracks in my day. Like, sometimes I can't sit down for a whole power hour. I have to do it half an hour, 20 minutes here, 10 minutes there. But to find the cracks in your day, or wake up a half an hour earlier, because you can do your invites from your phone laying in bed. And then when you have a little bit, grab your laptop and pop them into your tracker. And that has been key. That's it. Who's going to piggyback?
I'm so piggybacking you right now. Mine is actually more piggybacked on Steph's. But one of the biggest takeaways for me, and this is probably not going to come as any huge surprise to some people, but I've always been about the business. I've always been about inviting coaches and trying to grow the business. But I've added a lot of coaches, but I've never really grown my business. The numbers, the cash flow has really just been about me, myself, adding more people. And instead of recruiting people who really wanted to be business owners, it was more about people who wanted the feel-good side of things. And that's awesome, because those people are so necessary and they add so much to your tribe, and you need that feeling, but you also want people who are going to just run with it. And so when Elizabeth was talking about treating your business like a business, and are you growing your business or are you managing a business? It made me really think about going back to my days of actually running these multi-million-dollar stores. What was I doing to grow these businesses? And I was never afraid to promote the business when I was trying to hire on managers and things like that. So why am I afraid now? So I actually, if you have a Facebook business page, you can run, they actually allow you to post jobs now from your Facebook business page. And I posted a job yesterday. I paid like $3 or maybe $5 to run a job ad for a day. And I it was very clear about like, this is what I'm looking for. I'm looking for people who want to run their own business, who want to own a business, who want to fly with it, who need it, XYZ. And in a matter of like 3 hours, I had 3 people apply to be a wellness coach. So it's a huge thing when you take a look at your business and you think of it as your business. Like, let's pretend you're in a store and you are running your store and you need an employee to come in and help you run the store when you can't be there 24 hours a day. How are you going to do that? You're not going to be ashamed to ask somebody to come and make money. Like, that's ridiculous. Like, that's so easy to do, is like, hey, come here and I will pay you to work this. Like, that's essentially the same thing that we're asking people to do, is you work, you make money. And the other benefit to it is you're actually doing something that matters, and it means something not only to yourself, but to other people. So I've always been pretty outgoing about all of it, but I've become very, unabashedly like in people's faces about it right now because of the benefits that it can provide people. So if any of you guys have Facebook business pages, you can run job ads now. You have to make sure they comply with the Facebook policies, but treat it like you're hiring people. And so I have a girl that I'm talking with on Friday, and I'm interviewing her. That's what I told her, because that's what I'm looking at now, is this is an interview process now. And I want people that I screen that are going to be on my team, that I make sure are going to fit with my team, that want to run with the business, and just really to grow with it. So I'm not going to accept just anybody. And if there's people that are sort of on the fence, I'll have them be a challenger first and really like test them out as a coach. But I'm from now on, the people that I'm taking on as coaches, unless it's somebody who's like, I really just want to do it as a hobby coach, like, blah, 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 that's totally cool. But the people that I'm going to actively seek out now are people who want to be business owners. And I'm going to do it in a very strategic way, like Elizabeth was talking about, with marketing, with email campaigns, with screening people and doing interviews. And I'm like creating an actual like interview guide for my team to make it the best and biggest as possible. So that was my take.
Kelly, I just want to share with this because I love it so much, but Christina Delgado talks about this in a call where she talks about attracting the coaches that you actually want to work with, like that want to run with the business. And even if you're not running a like page and don't run an ad, like she talked about it in a way of like when you are sharing about the opportunity, like, hey, I'm looking to mentor 5 new coaches this month, like sharing the qualities you are looking for, like especially the qualities that you have, like you're ambitious, you're a self-starter, like you're coachable, you're willing to fail, like you're willing to put yourself out there, like, but kind of sharing the things that you are looking for is another way to do it, like in post too, where you're actually kind of getting more feedback, because somebody who is not those things is not going to respond to it. You know what I mean? Love that.
I can go next. Are you good, Cal? You're all set? Okay. So a couple of things that, first of all, everything is just to go to these events, no matter what they are, whether they're the leadership retreats, whether they are summit, whether they are super Saturdays, like it always brings life back into me, and makes me just refocus, regroup, and like ready to go like in gangbusters. So number one, I'm back at it. Not that I ever wasn't, but I'm back at it, like really back at it. So one of the things that was actually said, it was during a talk that we were listening to by Lori Miggins. And I know this seems very simple, but I think this is an area that people struggle in a lot. I know I personally have, and I think probably every person on this team can say that they have. And it's the value and the need, if this is your business, the need for you to show up every single day. She told a story, and I think that when you're hearing it, she had mentioned that her dad died of suicide. Very shocking, very obviously not something that they ever thought. And within 1 year later, her mom died of undiagnosed breast cancer. So she had a lot on her plate. She's like a mom of, I think, 3. And she had like hell and back. And she said, you know, she went through like deep depression. Like it was a real struggle to just like go. But she, instead of like setting back and saying, I've had this going on in my life, I have had these struggles, and I'm going to pull away from this business, she used this business to lean in to get her through the difficult times. And I think that it's so incredible to hear that, because I'll have a bad day at work, or I'll have a bad day with my kids, and I mean, that's nothing compared to what this woman went through. And I still need to show up every day. And I've seen a very big difference in my business from when I first started to now, where every single day I am going to be on social media, no matter what, no matter, it's going to be a post, it's going to be Insta story on Facebook, on Instagram, it's going to be a Facebook story. They are the same exact thing. What's on my Insta story is on my Facebook story. It shouldn't be much work. It should be just kind of re-putting those in. It's the same post from me on Instagram that it is on Facebook, and it's on my like page. So it's always there, and it's something that I did not see before. And I, in the past year and a half or so, realized there are a million Beachbody coaches out there. And if you are not showing up in their feed and you're not being present and constantly showing them that you believe in this, then why are they ever going to go to you and think that you're going to help them through this? They're not. They're going to go to the next person that shows up on their feed. And so being present for the good, the bad, the struggles. People want to see you. People want to see reality. They don't want to see picture perfect person out there. They want to see you and follow you. And I think it's so important to dive in and make sure that you are always showing up. Just like your regular job. If you work a regular job, you're not just going to not show up. You have to go in. Like, that's just the story, or else you're probably going to get fired. Like the same thing, you're not going to get fired here, but your business isn't going to grow. So I think that was one thing that really spoke to me. And then we heard one speaker at Super Saturday, and she gave these 5 tips. And this was from a doctor. I believe this one was the one that was from the doctor. She was an ER doctor. She works insane hours. She literally, like, if we're talking about time management, of not finding time or finding cracks in our day to kind of get this in, she finds it. And if she can find it, we can find it. But she put in 5 tips that she recommended for all of us as coaches. Number 1 was to be willing to be uncomfortable. We have to be unwilling. We just, like to go along with everything else that people have said, we have to be a storyteller. We have to share our story. Sometimes we're going to post and go, oh shit, what did I do? But you have to do that. That's what speaks to people. You have to be willing to be imperfect. Sometimes the pictures you're going to post, sometimes the things you're going to do, you don't want to be perfection. There is no such thing. So why try to portray that? Don't wish for someone else's success unless you know where their struggle is. You don't know where these people are coming from. When you see these other top Beachbody coaches or whatever's going on, they might have gone through hell and back and still gotten through this. And that's why they've just succeeded. And 2 more, this isn't just about you. It's much bigger than the individual. It's not just about you. You are here to share this with other people and truly help change people's lives. And then just shine bright so you can ignite others to do the same. So people want to see happiness. It's not always going to be that way, but you want to be that person that they can come to when they are struggling and when they are looking for that support and that hope, and be that kind of, breath of fresh air in their life when they see your post each day, and that they crave to go to your page because they want to see what you're doing today, funny, bad, whatever it is. They just want to see you. So those are my big things.
I think what Kelly was saying is so pertinent about just like show what's real. And Kelly, I'm drinking my wine too, girl. Cheers. But showing like what's you and what's real. Like today I had like all these perfect posts planned out on my business page. And it was like a workout in the morning, so perfect with my kid actually behaving, and then this. And then by the middle of the day, both of my girls had pooped on the floor in my house. And I was like, you know what, that is so real that like I can't not share that. And so I didn't obviously share photographic evidence of it, but I talked about it, and I was like, hey, have you ever had a day where all of your children shit on your floor? Hi. And so many people like jumped in and commented on it, but that's the stuff that people will like truly connect with you on. And then you can extend your connection further. but the more like honest and open you are, like people saw me and Isla working out this morning and they're probably like, yeah, right, my kid would never do that with me. But then later in the day when I'm like, yeah, but she pooped on the coffee table, they're like, oh, okay, that's real then. So just Kelly was saying it so perfectly, like just be you and be real and just show up, even if it's like a shit, literally a shit show.
I'll go. I kind of had some of the same stuff that people have already said, but one of the big things for me, and one of the big struggles for me has always been sharing coaching. I'm more comfortable with the fitness side and inviting challengers and all that. So Jess kind of talked about like picking the thing that you're weak in or that you're afraid of and really leaning into that. And that really resonated with me because I need to do that. I need to like kind of get out of my comfort zone and get into the things that are a little bit harder for me. And the question I had to kind of ask myself is, would someone come to me for the business? And I honestly could say no. Like at this point, no. I think people look to me for food and they look to me for, getting in shape, but they don't look to me as like a business person who can lead them. And I think that's because I fear that a little bit. I fear that that I am a good leader. So I have trouble leading with that. So that's the thing I'm definitely going to lean into after kind of like read that resonating with me and everything. And because people have already given like a lot of tips and stuff, things that we heard, just like getting to events is like so huge. It's really true. Like Kelly said, you just kind of get that fire relit and it connects you more to like, we can see each other here, but like when you can actually like be together, it really just like connects you on a deeper level to your business and to your friends, where like when things get hard, like, and I want to walk away for every other reason, I'm like, I can't walk away because like these people are real and they're part of my life. And if I walk away, then like, it's not the same thing. So like getting to events and like being together is like one of the hugest things. And I think it really like will help you kind of like stay solid and like really have a long career as a coach, I guess you want to say. But that's it. I'll keep it short and sweet.
I totally agree, Alicia. Like, I was going to say the same thing. Like, I went to Summit for the first time this past summer, and that was pretty awesome. But it's so overwhelming. Like, there's just so much going on, and we're all kind of doing our own thing, and we're going to, like, all these workshops. But when you have the opportunity to get to a more intimate event, such as the leadership retreat, or maybe even just meeting up with your team and at a super Saturday, like where you can kind of have some time and maybe get lunch after, like those are really important for you to really understand why you are a part of the team. Like, you're not in this alone. We're all there. We're struggling with you right there. We're having our highs and lows together. So that was super important for me to do this. And even my coach, is Lauren Teague, right? And she even said, like, I know she couldn't make it, but like she even told me, she's like, at her retreat, that was like more impactful for her than it was really kind of going to Summit. So she was like really stressing, like, you need to get there. So as far as some of the tips I picked up, I know a lot of you guys have already like said a lot of the same stuff that I was going to say, but one of the most impactful speakers we heard from was Liz Harkey. I mean, she's already kind of like, she's been kicking ass for years, right? But I loved how she really kind of said, look, if you're planning on leveling up your business, like you need to treat it like a business. You need to put the work in. You need to spend, if you can, like, even if it's like $5 a day, spend a little money in your business. And that kind of goes back to the same thing. If you're a small business owner, you have to spend money to make money. Like, that's something that I've always heard, and I've been in small businesses, I've worked them a lot. So, and then she brought up a lot of great resources. And the funny thing is one of the books that she mentioned, the Story Brand, I believe it was called. I was walking through the airport, like dazed and confused because, that night was all about mama poops. But
You're the only one who did not sleep.
I did not go to sleep after our crazy Mom's Gone Wild evening. But I swear I would have missed my flight if I had. But she mentioned the story brand, and I was walking through and I just happened to glance over, and there it was, like sitting in the airport. And I was like, shit, that's like the universe telling me, okay, you need to get your acting gear. So I bought that on Amazon. And then the other thing she mentioned was making a 3-month calendar. And it seems so, small thing to do. But for me, and personally, like what I'm struggling with the most is getting my ass organized. And she was even saying how much of a hot mess she is. And I was like, yes, I'm a hot mess when it comes to organization, even though I was totally a planner in my past life at a web design firm. But so anyway, like making a 3-month calendar and knowing the dates of all the things that are launching, understanding like what your plan is, how you can pass that down to your team, and so they know what the plan is and like moving forward. So not only just like in the next month, but like 3 months from now. And so that was a huge takeaway for me that I plan on implementing.
I'll go. So just like everyone else said, I have my little list of things that everyone said, most of them, but I think 2 things that I really took away that people sort of touched on, but what Kelly was saying about, are you managing a business or building a business? Steph and I were literally talking about this today. And the piece of that I really thought about, I love personal development. That is a huge piece of this that I never read a book. Even in school, I didn't read. I pretended to read. I would read like the back and pretend I read it and then like raise my hand for the one thing I knew. But like I started to get into reading and learning about myself and figuring out why I do certain things, why I put myself in shitty situations, whatever it is throughout my whole life. But I never really picked up a book only about the business. And when she said that, I was like, oh, that's what I need to do, because clearly that's the piece. So I already have gotten one of them. I already had on my bookshelf, just never read. Someone else told me to read it, and I was like, nah, you don't know what you're talking about. Oops. So I started that, and sorry, I also ramble, just an FYI. I'm almost done, I promise. The piece that people were already saying, yes, the blue ocean strategy is the one that I have. Sorry, I'm so bad at this. This is what happens at late night when I wake up at 4:30 in the morning. But so Jess was talking about thinking of yourself at your highest potential and what would you do. So we've been talking about how people get nervous inviting to the business, which is also me, but like think of yourself at that highest potential. Think of yourself not afraid to do it. Think of yourself in whatever situation or highest potential that you want for yourself. Picture yourself there, and how is that person going to respond to whatever it is, whether it's someone saying they don't have the money or whatever objection you get, anything like that. But also think about, like, in that position, how do you feel? So come across like that. Talk, use that confidence, the belief, all of that stuff. Use that when you're talking to people about the things that scare you, whether it's the business or if you're scared of whatever it is. Yeah. I know half of what I'm actually trying to say. You know what I mean. Thanks.
I love that. Whitney, I just want to piggyback on that so we don't miss it, because I love that part too. But when she asks the questions of what are you weak in and what are you afraid of, and then do those things every single day until you get good at them. Calling Laura. Katie. Do you want to go, Katie?
Yeah, can I? Because that would be awesome. I feel like a lot of people, a lot of you have already touched on a lot of the notes that I took and things that I thought were definitely impactful to me. And then there were some other, I'll point out a couple of those. And then there were a couple of things I got that were not what was directly said at all, but just from reading between the lines, they're the things that I got. So it's like the stuff I learned from Summit or not Summit, Leadership Retreat that I'm not even sure people were trying to tell me, but it still helped. But if someone said this already, but like tasks are easy. This is when Jess is called, but it's the people that are hard in the business. Hold on one second. What even just happened upstairs? Anyway, so it's the tasks that are easy, but it's the people that are hard. And then it's the moment when things are not what you thought that they would be. That's where the growth is. And so like I took so much out of like that one part of that one call and then so many other things after it, because it made me realize that I've been sitting here for the last few months, like taking a back seat, not really trying really hard. And you know why? Because things weren't going the way they thought they were going to go. Like they weren't what I thought they would be, like Jess was saying. So it was like, how am I going to handle that? Am I going to sit there and be like, this isn't going how I thought it was going to go right now. This isn't where I thought I'd be right now. I'm not who I thought I would be right now. So guess I'll just fold up and walk home. Or am I going to say, all right, this is where my growth can be. And this is where I can like lean in and start trying to find consistency and start trying to like believe in myself again. And I also realized just simply from interacting and watching people throughout the weekend, you know, you have these moments in life where you're sitting there and you're like, but I'm trying my hardest. And you're like, why do I feel like I'm running in circles and I'm trying really hard? And then you like look around at what people are actually doing, like physically in front of you. And you're realizing, like, for me, I was like, maybe I'm not trying my hardest. You know what I mean? Like it's 24 hours in the day. I can't find 10 minutes to send a couple more invites. Like, I don't know. So I got a lot of that kind of stuff out of being at the leadership retreat myself, just simply like the good influence from all of you, from being around people, like watching you kind of like be productive and watching you do the things you were doing. It made me realize that I still have a lot to learn and that I've totally been lying to myself and being like, I'm not good at technology. Like, this isn't my thing. I'm not good at it. I can't figure it out. And I'm like, I don't want to be like, you know, sitting there wasting time lying to myself. Of course I can figure out Instagram. Of course I can learn how to do this stuff. I just haven't really wanted to or believed that I could. So I got so much out of just being at this retreat weekend because it was almost like this little mini, teeny, tiny 3-day Army boot camp. There was at one point on Friday afternoon where I burst into tears because I just felt really gross just because I've put on a lot of weight and I went from diamond and like dropped back down and I had been really depressed for a while and things weren't going good. And I went from like that moment to like kind of being built back up when I was like looking back over all the notes I took and seeing the people that I was around and like what I could do and the potential and like stopping lying to myself. And instead of being like, well, I can't do this, I can't learn this, this part isn't for me, being like, well, fuck all this, I'm going to do it. I don't know how I'm going to do it, but I'm going to figure it out. I'm going to do it like a little bit at a time. And then I also felt okay with the fact that I'd like let things go and gained a little weight. Like my yoga teacher always taught us, like a little bit of shame is a good thing, not a bad thing. It's okay to sit there with yourself for a minute and go, wait a minute, this is, I've done not my best. And I have to like acknowledge that and be like really honest and truthful with myself if I'm going to grow. So I don't know if that's what people were trying to tell me over the weekend, but that's what I got. I think it's helpful stuff. I just think people need to go to these events, like strive to qualify for them and go to them, because like how I've been spending my time the last 3 days is completely different from how I've been spending my time before that retreat. Like pretty much every minute of every day. I'm like back on reading PD and working out and like not playing Candy Crush anymore. Don't even want to at all. So anyway, it was a little rambly, but I got a lot out of it. I'm feeling pretty grateful. I messaged Dana last thought. I was like riding high on Sunday, and even though I was super duper tired, I came home and I was like cleaning the house and I was like gung ho. I was super enthusiastic and I was like running around and I was feeling great. And then I messaged Dana on Monday that I spent most of Monday in tears. And I wasn't upset. It was just such this like crazy Emotional release. I don't know. It was awesome. I already can't wait for next year. So now I'm going to have to get myself up to like 2 or 3-star diamond or some shit like that. So thank you. Sorry about the swears. That's all I got.
I think we heard from everybody. I will literally say 10.
Laura
Give
has
me
to go,
15
but she's on the phone. Oh.
Huh?
Said Laura. Do you want to share?
You don't want me to share? You just were like, no.
Oh, I didn't realize that's what you were doing. Sorry.
I was like, I'll take like 15 to 30 seconds, but I honestly just love that Aspire Nation and Empowered Elite are becoming more of a unit. I love the connectedness that was going on down there. And I typed in the chat that I really love the side conversations. Those are my favorite parts of getting together because you can't do that in a Zoom chat. I mean, you can type privately, but you don't really get to know people on a one-on-one level. And literally, that is one of the coolest things about this business is creating those relationships across the country, all over the place. I love, love, love that. And then what people have already said about something that sticks with me from Liz, she talked about, are we in a business for a little bit of cash flow, or are we building a business, building an empire for like this massive growth and income? So kind of deciding how do you market your business that way with the 90-day calendar, with a marketing plan, and that kind of thing. So really just owning the marketing component, the business component, like Whitney said, digging into books that teach us how to be network marketers and how to do it the right way. So that's all I'll say about that.
Okay, let's end this night. Sorry we kept you so late. It was just so many exciting things to share. Two things that I wanted to quickly touch on was another thing that I love that Jess did was said choose 3 words, like 3 words of the mark that you want to leave on the world. So like use them in your daily life. So if you like use the word empower, like thinking about your day-to-day life and your choices and like how that word is relevant to you and the choices or attitude or, you know, whatever that you are choosing. This is what my calling is, and this is who I want to be, and this is how I want to be remembered, was how she stated, like choosing your 3 words. And then just quickly touching on something Liz had mentioned, that it's so profound and it's so simple, but it kind of goes along with our whole theme of storytelling and listening to that storytelling call. Because I feel like, especially if you've been a coach for a long time, you feel like you shared so many times over and over and over. And like, yes, your story changes, but at the same time, like you forget the core things. Like you almost forget who you were before you started this business and the pain points that you had, where you feel so far away from them in some instances that it's like hard to go back to that and really share in a way that connects. So Liz stated it so simply and was like, make sure that you are marketing and sharing to internal pain points versus external pain points, being that like if you have had body insecurities or things like that, it's more powerful to talk about that than it is to say like, oh, I'm so excited I lost 10 pounds, right? Whereas if you were like, I used to go in a dressing room and absolutely hate what I saw in the mirror, feel so uncomfortable in my clothes, and now like I feel more confident because of the healthy changes I'm making. But like thinking about the internal pain points and struggles that you have had along the way and in this journey and in your business, and sharing those to really connect to people. And that is it. Thank you, ladies, for sharing. Thanks for everybody who trooped through it with us tonight. We know it was long. We'll try to keep it short and sweet next time. Hope everybody that wasn't there with us that was on tonight got some awesome little takeaways and nuggets of inspiration to move forward in their businesses with, and we'll see you next week. Bye.